Hey everyone, my name's Austin Spencer. I am a motion graphics artist and graphic designer and videographer. I do a little bit of everything creative, and you might have seen some of my work for the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Huntsville Havoc, the Huntsville Visitors Bureau. I've done stuff all over town.
So I really just want to ask about you. Oh, hi. I'm Kenny Paone. I'm the owner of Sanctuary. Austin, I want to talk to you just a couple of minutes, just because you and I talked while we were setting up, and we talked when we tried to doing a live stream about a couple of things that I think would be really valuable. They were certainly valuable to me. I think they'll be valuable to the watchers as well, our audience. And so, obviously, everything that we've used for your videos is Adobe stuff, and I know Adobe, and I've used Adobe. But for those of you who watchers who don't necessarily have software and are just starting out, they just want to see if it's right for them, and they don't necessarily have the money to spend on any sort of software. What do you recommend to get started at a low or even no budget whatsoever?
Yeah, so Adobe is obviously like the reigning supreme for all these types of things. If you're like me and you're dabbling with a little bit of every creative realm, I definitely say, just go ahead and you just kind of have to go Adobe because it's so interconnected. But there are ways around it for sure. And one of them is DaVinci Resolve has a great free video editing software that has some After Effects tools. So it's called Fusion, I think is what they call it. I personally haven't worked with it, but I know you can do some great things with it. You just have to kind of work with a different mindset. Like instead of working with layers, they call them nodes. And so, just there's YouTube tutorials out there for that kind of thing. There's also, tons of other design software. There's, what's it called? Sorry, I'm going to look it up.
No, it's all good.
So there's a new software out called Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer, which is sort of the top Adobe alternative for a design software right now, and people seem to really love it. I've considered switching to it myself. If I wasn't so deeply rooted in the whole Adobe ecosystem, I would definitely give it a shot. But definitely give those a look. And then if you need a totally free solution, there's a website called Photopea that it's literally Photoshop, just entirely free, but inside the browser you don't download anything, and it's got all of the tools and everything, but it's just it's all cloud based. And so I said to use Illustrator for logo design, but if you have no other options, it's okay to mess around with something like Photoshop to do that design work. Just make sure you're also learning about how to work with vectors in the future and everything. So look around, there's options out there.
Gotcha. So also in the middle of the video, we kind of talked about kerning kind of being one of those amateuristic mistakes. What are some other kind of obvious amateur mistakes or pet peeves that you have that amateurs make that you see all the time?
Yeah, I think dealing with color is one of the trickiest things starting out when you're doing logo design. People, they tend to think, I want my brand to have blue. And so they immediately think, okay, there needs to be blue in the logo. But blue, color shouldn't dictate the design. I think the design should, be able to work with any color you need it to. And you incorporate that at the end, sort of like what we do in my tutorial here. So, don't get so hung up on color and just making something as flashy as possible, but rather simplicity and making a design that works with just one color. You can make it all in white, and you still can read what's going on in the logo.
Awesome. Now, we didn't talk about this much in the tutorial videos, but you're also a big photography and video person. And you helped set this up. You actually helped me get all this set up. But one thing you brought in was this a really nice light. I'm going to insert a picture of it here. I'll take it here in a minute. But talk a little bit about you kind of set something like this up. What are some of the first things that you consider? What are those first things that you do when you get into a space? And what are the real high priority things that you've got to have when you're setting up something like this?
Yeah, so I'm a firm believer you can get a nice looking image out of pretty much any space when you're filming. I'm lucky enough to have this giant light that like always looks amazing and everything. But the biggest things is you want your subject to stand out. So if it's just a person on camera talking, find a way to make it so that they're not blending into what's going on in the background. So like I'm wearing a black hoodie right now and we got a black background back there. I thought to myself, hey, that might be an issue. I could have just taken the hoodie off, but I really like this hoodie, so I kept it on. So what we did is we set up this rear light back here that's kind of splashing just a little bit onto me, and it's kind of separating me. And then we also put some blue on that black background. And just little things like that will help separate the background from everything else so that you're not losing what's important in the image. And of course, having like your big main source of light hitting the most important thing is also huge. So yeah, definitely just like find those ways to make your subject, separate from everything else.
And probably the last thing I'll bring up before we go ahead and call it quits for the day is what kind of like psychological things. I mean, me personally, my thing is in theatrical lighting, and so I could tell all about the psychology behind theatrical lighting and how it works and how to create certain moods. But talk to a little bit about the psychology of graphic design and filmmaking.
Yeah. Oh boy, that's broad.
I know that. I'm sorry. That was kind of that's a big talk.
Yeah. I don't know how well this answers the question, but I think it's something worth talking about for sure. Is I got into videography because I like so many forms of art. It's one of the only art forms that combines every single type of creativity into one particular piece. So I started out doing mostly sketches and drawings and illustrations and graphic design. Like I thought I was going to be just a graphic designer growing up. I didn't think I was going to be doing video full time, but really it's the way that all these different art forms inform each other makes you better at every type of art form. I didn't get good at lighting and stuff by practicing lighting necessarily. It was more, I was applying what I had learned in my painting classes about color and composition and everything that got me pretty decent at cinematography. So I guess if I had like one big word of advice for anyone in any creative field is practice every type of art that you can, because they all build, like all of that knowledge builds on top of the other piece of knowledge until you're just a creative ninja and you can do anything.
Awesome. Well, Austin, you're a great friend of mine and I really appreciate you doing all this. And so yeah, we're going to call it quits for the day and hope you guys learned something, enjoyed all the videos, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks.